Feel me.
Hello and welcome. It's Rada, a Galactic Goddess podcast, and I'm here with Alana Starr. We're just hopping on to say hello. We just did a big book signing at Barnes and Noble, and it was really amazing, actually. I really loved it. How about you?
I had so much fun. Oh wow, it was so good to see you in person and celebrate our accomplishments together and our friendship and seeing all the other girls that participated too. Uh, and being welcomed by Barnes and Noble bookstore in Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah, it was so nice.
Yeah,
It was beautiful.
it was
We had
very
all
nice. My
the
favorite part was the guy on the intercom.
That was
Rada Publishing, you have your authors here at this table. Yeah, it was really great. So yeah, we are here today because we got to have dinner together and we were like, okay, what's our next podcast going to be about? We have so many things to talk about. But you're going to this incredible trip
Mhm.
in Glastonbury.
Yes, I'm going to Glastonbury, and
Yeah.
I had this feeling about Avalon, and I just felt like I had to go, and I just knew that I was going to be doing the grid work, but I also felt that you had this connection too, because Alana and I have known each other for a very long time, and our friendship has always evolved, but I feel like we've had a lot of parallels too, and especially in other lifetimes and such. But I was like, you're like an Avalon goddess, you know? So
She sent me down this huge rabbit hole about Avalon.
yeah. The
Hi, buddy.
Lady of Avalon. So who here has heard of the Lady of Avalon? I
Mommy's on with Rada. Remember I told you? Yes, you can have a sticker. And there's your board.
Very cool.
Thank you. Sorry. What were you about to ask me?
Oh no, we're gonna talk about the Lady of Avalon.
Right. I said you sent me down a rabbit hole
Yeah.
about because you wrote me and you're like, what do you know about Avalon? I feel like there's a connection. And I was like, honestly, I don't really know a lot, but I feel it. And I need to refresh my memory. And all this resonance started coming back in from the stuff I was reading. It's just so powerful, and the synchronicity was so strong. And as you've been working on your presentation for the Ascension, what is it called?
It's a
Portals to Ascension.
yeah.
And in Glastonbury is the event that you're doing with a bunch of other incredible speakers who I've heard before, like Magenta Pixie and Laura Eisenhower, of course, and who else? There's other ones.
There's so
So
much.
it's just so powerful to see my girlfriend like going all the way out to Glastonbury to present the goddess in all her many forms, right? That connection to Avalon, the
Yeah.
earth being alive, the magic of the earth, and the synchronicity with like the books that you've created,
Like
goddess
that
codes and goddess
Woodland
stories.
part of like you're like the book that you're in a few books, but
Mm-hmm.
Stories of the Goddess or what is it called? I have so
Oh,
many
Pillars of Light. Pillars of Light.
Stories of Goddess Activations. Stories of the Goddess is the latest one, guys. Please
Come on,
excuse
Light.
me. I know my books, but I just, when you keep pumping them out, you're like, which one was that again? But that's a very special book. And let's talk about what you write about it. You talk about Sophia and your connection to Sophia. Goddess
Right.
Sophia.
So the reason why you bringing up Avalon to me was so powerful is because it deeply connects to Sophianic wisdom, which is what it means. Is Sophia's wisdom, the root of word of everything that has to do with Sophie, right? It's the inner knowing, and that we are alive and connected part of Earth. That the Earth is alive, and this root that connects all of us together, and that brings us back to that Earth Mother,
Yes.
the idea of the great mother, like her hand at work and behind everything we do.
Hmm.
And when you really research Avalon and you look deeply into like that history of um, the goddess of Avalon,
Hmm.
King Arthurian times, Guinevere, like
Enchanted
all the
Tale.
magic and enchanted stuff, even Disney has a hand in it. These stories that make us connect to our fairy tale self because
Mhm.
we resonate with it at some level. Um, and so Sophia, the character, or the goddess that I chose to work with when you gave me the goddess activations, pillars of light, activation to write the story, which was about Sophia. I know it's kind of getting
Yeah,
the words out is so much because
I know,
it's
because
like
we're almost
Sophia this.
pre-recorded, guys, so we're just like, we're
I just
talking.
have to, yeah, please bear with me. It is really enchanted to awaken to this. That calling of Avalon is exactly what Sophia called me to do.
Yes.
The earth is speaking to us through whatever channel she can get to you. It's many, right? It's Kali, it's Durga, it's
Yeah.
of course,
I mean,
all of the goddess of the Sophia tribe,
yeah.
um,
Kuan Yin,
Hathor, Kuan Yin, Isis,
Dragon.
Mary Magdalene, there's all these key codes, all these and I call them key codes. I kind of took that from Sophia Code, the writer Kaya Ra, who really coined that, but also the codes come in everywhere, right? We're all carrying them in different levels and
You can see
we
them.
bring forth.
We can,
Yeah.
I feel like we're
It's
able to,
just the codes, the sun codes, right? The Christ codes. And
yeah.
that is wisdom. When you embody that, it's Christos Sophia. It's the wisdom of, mending the gap in everything. So,
So true.
yeah, so it's just so powerful that you're going to Glastonbury to do that. Sorry, say that again.
I said awakening our divinity codes and walking the royal path. The path. I think that the goddess path and the path of nature are both, heaven on earth, and it's really the royal path,
The
because
royal path.
this is
Yeah.
our true royalty, because our
Yep.
true royalty is in our DNA. It's in our heritage. It's in our lineage, our galactic lineage, our earth lineage. I believe that Glastonbury and Avalon is like a triangle. It's like the trinity of Lemuria and Atlantis. And some people say that Glastonbury is a piece of, one of these incredible civilizations that had to kind of make its own way. But there's been so much history with Glastonbury and Avalon, and when back in the day, when King Arthur and all of these amazing things existed, because they actually have the skull, I mean the bodies, the bones, and like they actually have the bones of King Arthur and Queen Guinevere. Oh my God, that's a little sadistic. Like, leave them alone, you know. But they have that.
Your dog is so cute in the background. Just
But like,
noticed that.
he was like a giant. He was like very tall, and the Queen Guinevere is like, she's like the fairy queen, and back in the day it was so different. Like, it was the
Some
divine.
believe that she was the last fairy queen
Yeah.
to realize to lose her magic in a way.
Yes,
Like that's when the spells started happening, and that's why Disney actually has a show that they explain King Arthur,
yeah.
and but in the show it does represent a time that magic was lost, where spell cast all of the characters and they forgot who they are.
And that's where we are
And
now, guys. We're in amnesia.
right.
I mean,
Are we crazy? Are we like delusional? It's like
we're in
all these
amnesia,
people.
but we're having like these flashes, right? So a lot of us are having flashes. I don't know about any of you, but you're not crazy if you're having flashes in your brain. So something that's been happening over the past few years with me, as my dogs are like exploring, come here, hey, I see somebody's butt on the camera.
I love it.
Is that like these flashes of light come into he just vomited, guys. It's my foster yeah, but he does it all day. He's just clearing, but flashes of light come into the mind, and it's almost like that kind of thing. And we're getting these bursts of light, and that's what we were talking about, the plasma light, the solar flares. All of this is to awaken our DNA. We knew when we came in here we were going to have deactivated DNA, dormant DNA, and all that junk DNA that they said was garbage, we're bringing back online. you know and we do that how? By being in communion with nature. by putting our feet in the ground, by having beautiful pets and animals around us, you know, these beautiful beings.
Bringing beauty, that is an attribute of the goddess, right?
Yes,
One of
bringing,
her many attributions and virtues, right?
yes. Yeah, so we're
Yes.
bringing back the enchanted and all that we're doing, you know, and I think we've been talking about this for so long. Like we started the deprogram series, you know, where we were deprogramming the mind control that we've all been under, this hypnosis.
When the spell started,
Yeah, where it started. Like, what's the root of this? Like, why is everyone, including why have we been under hypnosis? And the cool thing is when you realize it, you're like, oh my gosh, like I can see where I've been sleepwalking. And then
the shadow,
yeah, the
my
shadow.
darling, come.
And
Mommy's still on
sometimes
her call.
and there are areas where
Can I give you something?
awakening.
Can I give you something? My little one's like, get off of this. I want to play now.
Exactly.
Yes. We're gonna go to the pool very soon, okay?
Little ones
I'm
remind us
sorry.
of our
I'm
childhood.
sorry, my foot got you.
That's
Yeah, exactly. Come.
oh.
So tell us about, well, I'm just gonna caretake a little bit for a second. Can you tell everybody about your event coming up in Glastonbury? What's it called? And
Absolutely.
maybe about what you want to present or anything like that. But I'm
Yeah.
listening.
So it's called Ascension Avalon or Ascension Glastonbury. And you know, we're gonna be diving deep into the history of Avalon, and we're gonna have people from all over the world come in. But you know, I'm really fascinated with the Lady of Avalon, and it's, you know, some people call it the Holy Isle of Avalon, or the Lady of the Lake of Avalon, or the Lake of the Mist, or the Lady of the Mist. So the goddess, she has many titles for Avalon, but how I see her is really the nature goddess. And you know, the chakras have ley lines. So they have different lines, kind of like how we have like an endocrine system. And then the earth has chakras. So kind of like how we have chakras through our whole body, the earth also has chakras. And what is so cool is that we know where certain chakras are. So for example, in Avalon, that is like the heart chakra of the world. That means that the vibrational energy that vibrates there is a current that we all experience. For example, you think about your heart and your heart chakra. If your heart is blocked, if your heart is broken, if you feel grief and sadness, like your heart is going to be resonating at a level of grief and sadness. And so what happens is, you know, alchemically and in biology, like our body starts to feel that sadness, that grief, because it's, you know, it's not an isolated thing. How we feel in our heart is how we feel in our whole body. You know, like if you're super happy and joyful and madly in love, your whole body is like glowing and you feel this energy moving through you. And if you're heartbroken and sad, um it's like you feel this depression, like your body starts to sort of feel less vibrant. And that's just how it is. So we're going to all go there together and do some heart chakra healing on the chakra on Mother Earth. So we're working with a goddess, at least I am. And I've been really, I just have to say, I've been dreaming into dragons lately, like really feeling the dragon energy. The dragons are awakening. And you know, when I really, really felt it was November of last year. Well, when my two dogs passed away, they started to show themselves to me in the sky as these beautiful dragons. One of them would be gray because she was like gray and the other is white. And then and then I felt like I just had these two dragons energetically that were working with me. What is your connection with
Well,
dragons?
I know that you've written about Kuan Yin and you've worked with her archetype in for many years,
Yeah.
and she's always depicted with dragons as well. Like we, yeah, 100%. Like even just hearing you say that, like just feels so there's and then it goes back to the enchantment, right? All the stories of dragons being slayed and
Oh,
yeah, there's depictions of them being malignant
yeah.
and some of them, you know, nice and magical and they stand by you like a companion, almost like they are you, right? It's
I
like
think so. I think they actually are part of us. So, um, I know we're going like all over the place, but just bear with us because
connected.
we're just sharing right now. This is just a conversation between two friends, you know, how we talk anyways. So, the Elohim have really been coming to me. My first the you know, the dogs I had were the love of my life. So, little girl, I tried to name her you know, as a Seraphima. And but she didn't really take to it. She liked little girl. She wanted to be a little girl, you know? So, but that energy and that kind of remembering, like I feel that energy, that seraphim energy, that Elohim energy, and that really cosmic ray where actually these some of these dragons are actually angelics, right? And they have like a very some people have a bad rap because they're reptiles, right? So I think it's really important to remember that before the fall, everything was benevolent. So the dragons were benevolent beings, right? So they
Um,
were very benevolent, and you know, the reptilians are just like an offshoot of that, you know, yes, they are connected to the dragon lineage, but it's kind of like the inverted aspect. So the dragons are their own completely sovereign, unique beings, and they actually had their planet explode. They had their own planet at one time. And you know, through all my past life regressions and all the things I've done, like I remember seeing the planet explode. And it was so traumatic and so devastating, and the dragons were got caught into this they got caught because they were in a beautiful paradise, and you know, the dark infiltrated all galaxies and all universes, and so the dragons were a target because they hold incredibly high vibrations, and they also were very much here
I
on
have
Earth.
a song that is gonna blow your mind
Hey, please
from a good friend of mine. I almost want to play it on here. It's a little long, but um
sing it.
it's called Elohim and
Mhm.
it has I mean once you hear it you'll be like, whoa. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I want to hear it now. I'm
All
like,
personal. We can play it even now we're at the end, but and you can share the screen.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
basically, it's a very good friend of mine who wrote this song during the pandemic. It came out in an album that was just so powerful for what we were entering and
Yeah.
so ahead of her time and what she's channeling. It's
Mhm.
definitely of the earth and of the goddess. Um, but the names that she names in the song, maybe I'll sing it for you a little bit.
Yes, you sing. I love your voice. You have such a
But
voice.
Mariana Magdalene, Hathor Isis, Mother Queen, Buddha Shiva, Yeshua, Ra Osiris, Father God, Gabriel, Uriel, Michael, something Raphael, Atlantis, Sumeria, Serafina, Andara. She also mentions like other ones, but I missed it because little guy interrupted me. But
It's okay.
like calling all of the names, not, you know, it's not like you're worshiping multiple gods, but you're acknowledging their existence and that there's a beautiful tapestry being weaved.
Yes.
And if you listen to to the things around you that you're attracting, you will see that it is all woven together and it's from her, it's by her. Her
Mhm.
heart is singing to us, and that is the calling that we hear, the music that we create, the creativity, our fruits of what we're creating here.
Yeah.
And I do believe that there's like something so special about people who can tap into that and bring it forth
Mm.
and try your hardest to bring grace in your life and stop the war inside of ourselves and outside of ourselves so we can truly like be in that enchantment again, because it is our inverted self, like you mentioned with the dragons. Like it's so ancient, this division inside of us, like the disintegration, right? We have to reintegrate and be programmed.
It's so
That's
true.
why doing this work is so important, and like talking about these magical experiences that we have, such as you going over there to speak with these people that I've listened to for years, and you didn't even know that I listened to them. I
Mm.
mean, some people you might have heard, I might have talked about Magenta Pixie, but it's just crazy, like down to see somebody in this circle of life and like the,
Yes.
the
It's a
synchronicity.
full circle. I feel like
Oh,
you're gonna
so
be there
beautiful.
with us, like in that circle. And I'm definitely gonna be sending out that love to everyone, including especially you. And that's my intention, is to anchor into the heart. Um, there's so many things I want to talk about. I mean, I'm all over the place because there's so much I want to share. But when it comes down to it, what is it really that matters? For any of us, wherever we are, it's coming back into our heart, because we get thrown out of our heart for so many reasons, all the time. And getting back in is really a challenge. It's hard to remember. I mean, it's so crazy because there have been times where I've just felt it completely. I've felt it, like, the 5D heart, and it is so amazing. It is that love. And I actually usually feel it when I'm doing sessions for people, because I always say this Rada, like, she takes a back seat and I'm just being a channel. So I'm just being of service. So I'm not, my own ego and issues are not in the door when I'm doing it. So actually, it's actually freeing,
So
like,
tell me what it was like. Speaking of, I wanted to ask you what it was like for you to channel all of the goddesses, and to have the courage and the belief that you have the power to do that, to activate another through an ancient goddess that
uh,
existed of their choice.
yeah.
What was that like? Let me
Um,
see.
for me, it felt so natural, but I know that I've been in many temples as a priestess in many lifetimes, and it has nothing to do with ego or anything like that. These goddesses are archetypes. These archetypes exist eternally, and these archetypes are part of Goddess Sophia. You know what I mean? And so you think of it like, really, the goddess is that divine feminine energy. That's how I think about it. It's like the full circle. It's like a pie. And so you want a piece of this is just a little piece. It's the same pie. It's just a different piece, right?
Yeah.
It's just it carries a different frequency, and I believe in my heart that we're frequency keepers, all of us. You're a frequency keeper. What you carry inside of you is a library of information that you've carried throughout lifetimes and eons. You've accumulated this
Yeah,
knowledge.
Patty, what is that? The Holy Grail.
It's a holy grail, and that
Lineage,
holy grail is inside of us.
lineage, right?
We have our lineages. That's why we feel drawn to certain lineages, whether it be the divine feminine goddess lineages, the dragon lineages, fairy. We have these lineages, Lemurian, Atlantis. I really feel I've been very like 50-50
Uh-huh.
Lemurian, Atlantis. Some people feel like they're just Atlantean. Some people feel like they're just Lemurian. Some people feel like they're just from Avalon, but I feel that it's time to integrate, because we've been travelers of this galactic realm for a long time, and it's a little frustrating to kind of compartmentalize everything, because when we do that, we actually shut down aspects of ourself and our inner knowing, our gnosis. So when we start to integrate these pieces of the puzzle, it brings in the wholeness into us, so that we can be more open to who we truly are, and then we connect right to our higher self and the divine. And so rejecting these parts are detrimental to us, and that's why, even, there are goddesses that are super forbidden, and like Lilith. Let's just talk about her for 1 minute, because Lilith is so demonized. but yet she was actually in the tale of Adam and Eve, she was like, she was actually Adam's wife, right? She was the first wife, but she was like, I didn't come from your rib. Like I don't know what you're talking about. This is already too patriarchal for me. So she stepped out and was like, I'm going to go explore the world. And then Eve came in. But the truth is she was actually a divine one. And the feminine has been demonized like over and over again. And that's why I'm I I'm not one to be like, oh, that's a demonic, you know, goddess. But you have to remember so much of history has been manipulated and inverted, right? So the good is bad, bad is good, all of that's been inverted. You have to come with like, you have to put aside your ego and be like, hey, what's really going on? And be willing to ask questions, because there's no stupid questions, right? There's no stupid questions. There's only generic answers. So, for example, with the Lady of Avalon, so she really represents the heart of the divine feminine. She really represents the heart of the goddess known as Mother Gaia. And I mean, some people have said they've seen her as like a beautiful, like a robed woman in the mist, because Avalon's known for its mist. And Avalon is really a representation, and the Lady of Avalon, of this divine feminine that has, see, the true goddess, the true divine feminine always has like different layers to her, just like a woman, right? We have many layers to us. And so there's actually no history about her that is for certain. You have to have like a connection with that, with your higher self, with the divine, before you can really explore these things, because
And you have to get the feeling, you have to feel it,
you
listen
have
to the
to
calling.
feel it
Those who have
exactly.
ears to hear and those who have, yeah.
And that's so important. And I think people always want, I want facts, I want this. Well, I mean, I don't know about, like, science is wishy-washy. Right now they're saying that men can have babies, so whatever. That's the science that they told you to trust. The whole point is, though, is that that's another inversion. But let's talk about the heart of the goddess and her majesty and all of her glory, because the goddess has been evicted from earth, and that is a fall, right? That is a fall
Right.
of all of humanity. This is the number one issue we are dealing with, the hatred for the feminine, all the way down to our wombs, right? Where it's the denial that we're
I
our,
think it's the archonic deception, like where that archonic deception really came in to be.
exactly. So the deception that, it's another inversion, it's another illusion, it's another mental illness that's being created by archon. So you have to be so discerning, and you have to be willing to say, no, that's not the truth. My heart knows the truth, and I'm connected to that, which is part of me. So you have to have this level of self love and understanding, and it's very challenging, because as humans, we're all critical about these little things. We all have these little things that we have, but that's okay, because actually the goddess is everything. So she would accept. So part of that is accepting, I'm glorious here and I have these flaws here, and it's all okay. What if it's all okay? Right? And so when we come back into nature, back into the truth of who we are, we are these flaws, we can love them too. We don't have to hate everything. We have to start loving more than we hate. Oops, I can hear you.
At the end of the day, we all come back to her.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
is just like the laws of
Yeah.
Ma'at. And if your heart is as light as a feather when you enter the underworld at the time of your death, your passing, if
Yes.
it's not, then you're supposed to like return to do it again. And imagine doing this over and over and again. Like we don't know eternally how much time that is, but
It's a long time. It's
I
probably at
think
least
that
20.
at the end of the day, it's like she's helping us come back to her heart so we can find peace and find understanding for our suffering
Yeah.
and reincarnation and what we're here doing and the laws of the universe and how they truly affect us and taking like a big responsibility for everything that we're creating. And that takes, time to heal our ego and the pain that's in the collective individually and our lineage, what we're carrying. And we're carrying the cross, we're all carrying the cross, it's like, and balancing the balance, right? And yeah, I do like the 42 laws of Maya because although some of them are hard to follow,
But it's very precise. And the thing is,
yeah.
it gives you the guidelines. Remember this, guys. The divine feminine has been written out of history. If you want to know to the extent as to which the genocide has been towards the witch hunts, towards the divine feminine, it has been so extensive. At least 20 million women have been murdered because of these atrocities. I mean, this is genocide. And we have to understand the how far people went or beings went, right? The inversion went to wipe out the feminine, wipe it out from the core, from the root, from every scripture, from even from the land.
Can
Why? Yeah.
I wanted to say, because we're getting close to the end because he's like, needs attention. But I think that it really relates to if the matriarch existed first, right? And then, one second, buddy. I need a little more time. Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh,
The women, right? Because there's chaos. Where women are, their chaos, their spiraling energy. And the masculine seem to have come in and try to create order in it. And I think that our power is so strong. And not even that, but the men's power is so strong, the masculine. And so it needed to like try to control it. And then there now it's like a need of like releasing that and just embracing, because the more you brought up the persecutions of all these women and everything, and it tells me that um we're healing from that, right? We're healing from the like us pushing away the magic because we're scared of it, but we all are showing signs of it all the time.
yeah.
But we're denying it at the same time.
This is so true.
I know I was just all over the place because I
No,
had
no,
a
no. It's the truth. I think that that's a big deal, is like that denial.
okay, agree with that. That's okay.
Very big deal. So yeah, we're getting back online. And again, it's a messy process, guys. It's not going to be. That's why this conversation is like bloop bloop bloop, because that's how it is. There's no like There's no like controlled trajectory. You cannot control the feminine. You can love the feminine. You can be in devotion to that goddess, but you cannot control the goddess. Like, your love and devotion will be met always. And the suffering of this
Yeah,
world truly
baby.
because of the lack of that feminine love and devotion that we've failed to realize is important. And also we've failed to be able to receive, because if you think it's just the masculine and one guy wearing a white beard in the sky, I mean, that's okay, but how can that really, like, that just doesn't even make sense. So we've all been taught stories. We've all been taught what reality is. At some point, you have to ask yourself what it really is. What is this? Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to explore. Don't be afraid to be in wonder, and come back to that childlike innocence. So, yeah.
100% agree. This is just so lovely. I love these conversations.
Well, I'll let you get to your little one, your little enchanted one.
Yeah,
And
that's also a big part of it. It's like because children they need a lot, it's like to remember to be able to be playful with
mm,
our children. It's like something that
That's so important.
So
Yeah.
important. Yeah, and they don't understand why I want to give my attention to this, right?
Yeah.
Like why this conversation is important. But I also know that if I don't get this out, if I don't speak and if I don't share these conversations, especially with you, um, that heart song, it needs to be sung.
Yes.
That's what it like, that really feels like what it is like being cheesy and sharing really what's in our heart.
It's
Um,
beautiful. I mean, I think that's about, I think cheesy is good. Cheesy from the heart is the best. You can't go wrong because it's felt. And even though our conversation was all over the place, there's a lot of encodements in here, guys. So this is divinely encoded. And sometimes we go here, and that is just like the divine feminine, because the
that's the
divine feminine
chaos.
is that like, it is that chaos, but in divine order. And when we just surrender to that, wow, miracles happen. And that's a reminder. We don't like trying to be in control all the time can be disastrous if we don't have a good balance of that divine
We have
surrender.
to activate the Merkaba, the Star of David, which is our divine inner selves coming together, the macrocosm, the microcosm,
Yes.
and like it's coming together within us, and the balance, and it's having to be in touch with that all the time, so that
Mhm.
we are safe and protected,
We
and we're grounding heaven on earth, and we're grounding our higher self with our physical body and all of our bodies across all time and space.
yes.
And we have to root ourselves within the earth while we're still feeling the magic of the universe.
Like I felt last
It
night
truly
coming
is
in.
this, right? It is like, the sorcerer doing their magic. We have to weave both together. And um,
An
some of
alchemy.
us do it better because, obviously we have types in our human design.
Yeah.
Ah,
This
yeah. So we all have different ways of doing it, and we have different parts and roles that we play, and being in alignment with our keys, our personal blueprints. It's not going to look the same as the other person's, and
never.
we all have a piece of the puzzle to give each other. So
Yes.
it's like, yeah, you and I are here to like bring that magic and share, but also like be realistic and down and grounded to the earth. Um, and yeah, and let everything roll off our shoulders. And because it's like we're just here sharing, right? What'd you bring me?
Sharing. We're just here for a moment in time, but
Yes.
but while we're here, we're enjoying it and we're really being present to it
Thank
all.
you.
Even
Trash bag. I will cherish this trash bag.
so funny.
He likes things that clamp. It's really funny. Like tongs.
He's such a character. You have a little lion and a
He's
little
really
lion. So beautiful. I'm always in awe because I knew Alana before she had this beautiful child, and I'm in awe of her because it's just amazing to see you grow as a mother and really step
oh,
into the goddess and hold
oh.
both. You're a deep wisdom keeper and taking on the role of this divine mother, really embodying that goddess feminine, nurturing a human in and nurturing his well-being. It's beautiful, profound. I every
Having a child in life is really challenging because it's triggering.
Yeah,
And
bet.
that's something that you're like trying to control all the time, but then you realize, oh my God, I have no control. Because he's got his own personality already. It's like,
He really does. He has such a strong personality.
whoa. Yeah.
He's a powerful guy. I mean, he's meant for big things, and it's really, really amazing to see how it's amazing also to see how a little one can really develop. And I can see him really developing like who he is and feeling so confident in the world because his mother, loves him so much. I think this is a component we need to come back to, people, because this love and affection, it's the divine goddess and mother. This is the key code for all of humanity is really honoring that mother, honoring that divine feminine, I mean, yeah, and you go through so much, right? You go through so much, you give so much, and you give so much of yourself. Like you were saying before, like you had your identity before, but then when you had your child, like your child becomes your world, and protecting him and really helping him develop and helping him gain his confidence. He is such a confident, incredible boy, and I think that has so much to do with you. So you are streaming that goddess energy every single day and night and sleepless nights, and it's so important. I think we should give a lot more credit to the feminine and to motherhood and
Hey, I
sacred
said stop.
energies. Yeah, and her boundaries. Stop.
Yeah,
Literally.
and that's part of it too. It's like I have to like because kids test you. He
Yeah.
tests me especially. Hey, excuse me. He wants to go and play, and it's like I get it. I get what it's like to be a kid and like want to play. He's like, I'm gonna destroy everything until you play with me. But it's also important for me to do this. I was saying earlier that it's important for me to do this because he needs to see me doing what I love too.
Yes,
So
because it nurtures
understanding,
both of
understanding his
you.
imagination and play.
It's so important. So
But
I love this. I love that it's messy, fun, and beautiful, and all over the place. That sometimes that's what makes life beautiful, when we can appreciate all those factors and not trying to be so perfect and have it all together. Sometimes it's just this beautiful, profound experience. So thank you so much, Alana, for
thank you.
hopping on today and having a
Oh,
conversation.
there's something over my head.
And bye, Leo.
Look, she's talking and she wants to say bye to you.
Leo.
Can you not throw any more things? Thank you. He's so good at it. He's so good at it. But wow, it's like stop. You just hey, got her arm on him. It's almost like what? Like some of the things like when he aims at something, he like yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on all the time and doing these. And thank you anybody who listens to this and sticks
Ah,
our
thanks
conversations
for
through.
staying to the end.
Yeah, because I know I go back and listen to some more stuff and I'm like, wow, you gotta really tune in and listen to get the gems. Because it's like anyway, um, love you.
Love you too. And love you all for joining us. Thank you. You're brothers and sisters. We're coming back into our sacred memory of who we are and why
Yeah, do some research about Avalon and about your heritage or about enchantment or magic.
Memoria. Let's
Yeah, Maria,
dive in. You're gonna
the
find,
Elohim, the dragons, the seraphim,
yeah.
the watchers, the shining ones. The keys are keywords, right? The ley lines, the organic blueprints, the activated DNA, the original divine blueprint, the Christos. These are the codes, and it's a language. And if you speak the language, you will get it. You will understand. Um, Also, totally recommend for you and everybody else to watch this. But this woman, excuse me, this woman I know that I found on YouTube years ago. Her name is Shannon Fort. She has a channel called The Art of the Feminine, and her last video was so powerful about the Magdalene codes and the feast day, right, that we had on July on our day of our book signing was the
Exactly. I already
Magdalene.
feel like we were in honor of
It's
Mary
so
Mag.
good.
I
But
felt like,
I listened to it on the way to our event, and it was literally just enough time for me to leave my house and get there, and it ended. But I'm telling you that this because they're all connected.
I'll definitely have to listen.
See how we all have these codes. Anyway, thank you again, Rada. Leo's hitting the drum. We're about to go play.
For now.